In this video, I'll be sharing with you a requested tutorial on how to cut this stylish asymmetric princess dart blouse with collar. So if this is something you like, kindly hit on the subscribe button, give this video a thumbs up. So let's dive right into today's video. So to start, here is my pattern and I've gone ahead to mark out the basic measurements, which includes the shoulder to bust, under bust, waist, and then the blouse length. Now, go ahead to measure any blouse length of your choice, or you can add 5 inches after your waistline. Here, mark your shoulder divided by 2 and add half. Now, after marking, mark your basic neckline of 3 by 3 inches. We're still going to alter this pattern. So I'm just marking this to serve as a guide, right? Now, place your ruler at the shoulder and come down by 1 inch at this point. Place your ruler back and connect, and then you're going to find your chest line, which is your bust circumference divided by 6 plus 1.5 inches, and go ahead to connect. Now, after you're done connecting, go ahead to place your tape and you're going to mark your shoulder divided by 2 at your chest line. Place your ruler and connect this all the way back. Then divide your armhole into 2 equal parts. Go ahead to mark your bust circumference divided by 4. Now connect from this point all the way up and then connect from that point all the way to the under bust of this pattern. Now after you're done marking this, what you're going to do is to go ahead to mark your darts. I'm going to start by marking my nipple to nipple divided by 2. My nipple to nipple is 7 inches divided by 2. I have 3.5 inches, which I'll mark all the way to the lower part. Extend this to the bust and extend this to the blouse length. Now I'll place my curved drew connecting from the bust all the way to the midpoint of my pattern. After I'm done connecting at both sides, I'll place my tape, mark half inch here and mark 1.5. If you're plus size, use 1 inch here and 2 inches here. So I'll just go back and mark this. And after marking this at both sides, I'll go ahead to connect this all the way to this point and also connect on the other side of my pattern. Now, after I'm done connecting, what I'll do is to go ahead to place my ruler and I'll connect all the way to the under bust and also connect at the other side of my pattern. Now, this is what I have and I'll outline with my marker. After outlining with my marker, what I'll do is to mark half inch on both sides of my pattern and I'll go ahead to reconnect it here and also reconnect at the other side. So after I'm done marking, I'll go ahead to connect this back. So what I'll do now is to go ahead to measure this dart, take it out at this side and mark it back into my armhole. Now I'll outline my pattern. After that, we'll insert the body measurement. At the bust of my pattern, I'm going to mark my bust circumference divided by 4. So this dart intake I have at the armhole of my dress, I'll go ahead to replace it. You can decide not to replace, then add your sewing allowance. Here, mark your under bust circumference divided by 4. Measure the dart intake you have here, replace, and then add your sewing allowance. Now, mark your waist circumference divided by 4. Measure the dart intake you have here and then go ahead to add your sewing allowance. At the blouse length, mark your hip circumference divided by 4. Measure the dart intake you have there, replace and add your sewing allowance of your choice. Now, after marking this, go ahead to place your ruler to connect. So I'll be connecting from the waist all the way up and from the waist to the lower part of my pattern. Now, after I'm done marking this, I'll mark my bust dart, which is the difference between your shoulder to waist in front and your shoulder to waist at the back. Like my waist is 17 at the front, my shoulder to waist, while my shoulder to waist at the back is 15 and a half. If you take out 15 and a half from that of the front pattern, you have 1.5, then you connect it to your bust point. After marking this, I'll go ahead to transfer all this measurement on this side of my pattern, right? Now, I've gone ahead to mark this out and I'll just use my marker to outline it. So now we are going to go ahead to alter the neckline. From the initial neckline, add extra 1 inch or 1.5, right? Because if you look at the neckline of this dress, it is between 4 inches to 4.5 inches. Now when you do that, go ahead to reconnect your pattern, that is the shoulder point of your pattern. Now go ahead and use my marker to outline. So while reconnecting, I'm going to go ahead to come down at the neckline of the dress, that is the depth. So if you use 3 inches, you can use 3.5 back, or you can use 4 inches, that is 4 by 4 for the neckline, or 4.5 by 3.5 inches. Now after I'm done connecting this, the next step I'm going to take is to now alter my pattern to get the exact design. From the side of my pattern, I will be going up by 2 inches, and I also repeat the same thing here. I'll mark 2 inches. Now I'll blend in my dart at this side. Now coming from the waistline down by at least 1.5 to 2 inches and blend it up here. Now from this point, I'll start slanting to the other side of my pattern, right? So there's this pointy effect here. So you come down by 1.5 after your blouse length, or 2 inches, then connect to the side. So this is what I have at the hemline of this side. If you're not okay with what you have here, please go ahead to readjust. There's always room for readjustment before going ahead to draft it on your actual pattern. So I'll just go ahead to reconnect this. Now from this place, I'll just take it slightly close to this joining allowance, right? So after I'm done marking this, I'm just going to go ahead to come up by 2 inches here, and I'll start connecting it towards the blouse and to the upper part of my pattern here at the waistline. Now let's work on the upper part. Connect from here, draw like a slight curve towards the neckline area. Now we are going to mark this button to indicate the buttons that we have on that pattern. Now this pattern that we have here, we are going to have like another pattern underneath it so that it can lap on each other. So after labeling this, we'll now go ahead to cut out, right? But when we are cutting, we are going to add additional pattern paper at the center. So if you have any questions so far, please kindly go ahead to ask, and I'll cut this out. Now if the neckline is not okay for you, you're not suitable with the depth or the measurement, you can always go ahead to readjust. Now I'll cut out this side, and after cutting it, while cutting this side also, make sure you blend your dart and then cut out, right? Keep this aside and go ahead to start cutting the other side of your pattern. So now for the side, we are just going to cut it and keep it aside. Where we are going to do the most adjustment is at the center piece of my pattern. So I'll just go ahead to cut out this area and also cut this out. Now I won't cut it totally out. What I'll do is to place another pattern paper. Now I want to trace out the part that will be underneath this dress, where the other one will be overlapping on it, and I'll go ahead to pin it down. So after pinning it down, all I'll do is to take this up, and I'm going to go ahead to trace this all the way around my pattern to get this shape. Remember, we are going to complete this side with the other side of this pattern, right? That's why we are adding another pattern paper underneath it. So I'll just fold this up and trace this out. So you might not add all of this, you can decide to use this or just add ½ inch. Whatever you're going to cut, just make sure that you have additional fabric underneath this part so that it can easily overlap on this other side, right? You can just decide to add few inches here just for the other side to overlap it. So after cutting out for the front, this is what I have, and we are going to go ahead to cut out for that of the back pattern. So you join this and join this together. After, you now take this to overlap the other side of the pattern. Now after doing this, take the round measurement of your neckline. If not, you can just fold it up, measure one side and use it for the both side, right? Now let's go ahead to draft out the back pattern. For this pattern, I have marked out the zipper in front, which is about 1.5 to 2 inches. Now I marked the shoulder which is the shoulder divided by 2, and I found the chest line just like we did for that of the front. Now I also marked my shoulder to waist, shoulder to blouse length, and my shoulder to bust also. My shoulder to waist in front is 17, while my shoulder to waist at the back is 15.5 inches. So for the neckline of the back, I'm using 4 by 1.5 inches. The depth is 1.5, the width is 4.5 inches, and I'll go ahead to outline it. So after marking this, I'm going to start by marking my dart. I'll mark my nipple to nipple divided by 2, and I'll also mark this at the blouse length. Then I'll place my ruler and I'll draw a straight line. So after I'm done connecting, what I'll do is to go ahead to mark 1/2 inch on both sides of the waistline of my pattern. Now after marking this, I'll come down by 1 inch here, go ahead to place my ruler, extend it all the way up, and also connect at the other side. Now I'll also go ahead to repeat this at the lower side of my pattern. Now after I'm done connecting, I'll insert my body measurement. I'll mark my bust circumference divided by 4 and add my sewing allowance. Now go ahead to mark your waist circumference divided by 4, measure the dart intake, replace, add your sewing allowance. Here, go ahead to mark your hip circumference divided by 4 and add your sewing allowance. Now after I'm done marking that, I'll place my ruler, connect from the waist all the way to the bust, and from the waist to the blouse length of my pattern. Now after I'm done connecting at this point, I'll come up by 2 inches from the waistline of my pattern, and I'll be connecting it to the lower part of this pattern. But at the lower part, we have like a curvy effect there, which I came down by 1.5 inches from this side, and I will go ahead to outline it. So we are almost done with the back pattern, and what I'll do is to come in by 1/2 inch at the waistline to get rid of the bulginess at the back. Then I'll extend this all the way down and mark this towards the upper part of my pattern. After marking this, I'm just going to go ahead to cut this out. Now after cutting this out, we are going to go ahead to cut out the collar of the dress. After cutting out, I'll go ahead to take the measurement of the neckline of the back, starting after the zipper. So for the front neckline, what I had was 6.5, and for the back I had about 5.5 inches, which gave me a total of 12 inches, and I'll add extra half or 1 inch to it for folding allowance. So this is what I have here, and I'll divide it into 2 equal parts. Now after dividing it from here, come down by 1/2 inch or 1 inch. This is to make your collar have that bias effect, like you're cutting it on bias, right? You don't want to cut it out straight. Now mark the length of the height of the collar. So for this pattern, I'm using 4.5. If you're okay with it, you can use 4.5. But if you want it to be more longer, you can add more to your pattern, right? Now go ahead and cut this out. After cutting it out, I'm going to go ahead to open it and spread it out. So this is what you have. You notice that it's not straight. Now you can go ahead to attach this from the front to the back neckline of your dress.